Hi, Ian Roberts and Mastering Composition. And today I want to talk about my process of deciding. How do I decide what I'm going to do, crop and structure and with a photograph? So I remember one time doing this demo video and we were working on some of the ideas behind the actual painting before I started painting. And this woman sent me a note, I guess she'd bought it, and she said, whenever the paintbrush is not hitting the canvas, it's a waste of time in a demo. It should always be about the paint on the canvas. And the thing was, so much of what happens in the painting process actually does not happen when the paintbrush is hitting the canvas. There's the whole arena of your consciousness and your awareness. There's the whole arena of what, having made decisions on that, what you're going to mix on the palette. And then all of that comes and addresses the actual brush mark on the canvas. And so a lot of that, as I've said before about composition, is the structure you think of before you begin to paint. So I wanted to look at an image this week that I thought had a lot of good potential, and we'll look at the value masses and the structure and so on. And it's an evening, beautiful evening light in Maine. But I want to show you the process I go through of how I'm going to crop it, getting ready to paint it. And then I'm going to draw it, because I learn things when I draw it. And then I'm going to show you the structure of what I've sort of figured out. And then next week, I'm going to paint it. So I think you'll find it really useful because there's a lot that goes on before the paintbrush actually hits the canvas. So first we have the uncropped image itself, which I find too expansive. There's too much room both on the left and the right of the trees. But it is beautiful late afternoon light. So let's try cropping it on the left side. And that's okay. And then we could crop it some more, come in a little tighter, a little closer, a little less sky. And I like the pull up to the right, top right, up by the ocean. But let's try cropping it on the right side. And now we get a line of light in the foreground that takes us in back towards those big shadow shapes in the trees. And that I really like in terms of a big line of movement. And then we have the water and the bushes way over on the left. So there's a better pull and movement back to those shadows and then potentially all the way over to the left. But I liked it when we'd cropped the other one and we were going up to the top right. So I tried flipping it. You obviously can't do this plein air, but with a digital image you can flip it, because I liked the structure and I liked the idea of sort of moving up to the top right, like we had when we cropped the other side. And so now I sort of have both sides, both of those features together, and this is the one I'm going to draw. I think the main thing about drawing is I actually enjoy doing it. You know, if somebody says, oh, you should really do a thumbnail, or you should do a drawing before you start to paint, and you don't like to draw, or you feel it doesn't really work, then, you know, you'd resist it. But I actually find the process, well, very meditative in a way, quiet, and it kind of connects me to the subject matter and the design and what works and what doesn't work. And I'm learning a lot about what I'm going to do when I paint. I mean, the big masses, the shapes, where the attention's going, solving things as I go. So you might think like, oh boy, this is a lot of work before doing a painting. But to my mind, it's enjoyable in its own right. And it helps me immeasurably in what I'm thinking about when I paint. And it just stops this thing of finding yourself halfway through a painting and realizing, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm lost here. So many things have got resolved in advance, you know. And so much of what, I mean, you see what I'm doing here. I'm just putting in big masses. These are the big value masses of what the painting will be. You know, I'm thinking in terms of design. I'm thinking in terms of value masses. And that's what I'm putting in. So I think the secret in a way is to enjoy the drawing process, because I mean, I know students, they just do the thumbnail quickly unconsciously because they've been told to do it, but they don't really know what it's for, and they don't really know what they're solving for. I mean, this is obviously more than a thumbnail. This is a fairly, considered sketch. But I am just thinking about the big masses that I'm going to paint and how they relate to one another and how I'm going to have the eye moving around the picture plane on the structure that I have in mind. And there's the finished drawing. And you can see that sort of pull of that little line of light from the bottom right going back to the back far left. And then I'm going to pull us to the far right. That's the structure I have in mind. Those are the big value masses I'll be dealing with. And I'm going to paint that next week. So that's my plan for next week. Now, you may have watched me making those various decisions, and you may have gone along with them and thought they were good ideas or disagreed with them. Am I right? I don't know, but they're the decisions I was making looking for a particular structure. And in the end, somebody has to make the decisions. And in this case, I'm the one that has to paint it, so I guess I get to make the decisions. But you see the process I'm going through of trying to get structure that leads around the picture plane. So next week, I'm going to paint this, and I'm going to paint it with this idea of getting us over to the left and then back over to the right. That movement through the structure of the picture plane, the way I've thought about it. So please do like this video if you liked it, subscribe, sign up on the email list so that you can get it on your inbox every Tuesday. I will see you next Tuesday. I hope you have a great week, and bye for now.